welcome to BioLearning with Aparna. I am back with your new chapter, that is Control and Coordination from NCERT Class 10. So let's discuss it in detail. Students, in our previous sessions we have seen that there are different life processes such as movement, respiration, excretion, and all these life processes are important in the maintenance of the functioning of living organisms. Now let us consider the life process movement. Now what will be the example of movement in the plants? Do you remember? The first example that we can see is the germination of seeds. Now the interesting thing in case of plants is that here the germination of seeds results in the sprouting and it forms a plant. Now here movement can be noticed in the form of increase in the length of the plant. So here the movement is connected with the growth of the plant. Now considering the example in case of animals. Now there are various examples in the animals such as running of the cat or a boy playing the bicycle. But here this movement is not connected with the growth. So every time, even though we consider that movement is the notation of the life, but each time it is not connected with the growth. Then further if we think about the movement, many a times this movement is as a response to the change in the environment, or there is certain environmental event and as a result of response to that event, the animal gives the response and that response is given in the form of a controlled or the carefully taken movement. Now let us take the example. Suppose there is exposure to the bright light. What will be your reaction? Immediately the eyes will blink. Or if you are touching the flame, what will be your response? Immediately you will remove your hand from the flame. Now how this happens? So there is a general thing that if there is any change in the environment, now this change in environment will be recognized by the living organism and it will give the response in terms of careful controlled movement. So obviously in all the living organism there must be a system which is controlling all these movement, and that system is nothing but control and coordination. Now let us remember the structure of neuron or the nerve cell from your standard life. Now this is a typical neuron or the nerve cell. So these are the dendrites which are actually the receptors. Then this is the cell body. This is axon and these are nerve endings. Now when we say that the information from the surrounding environment is collected or it is detected by the receptor. So as soon as these dendrites, they recognize the change in the environment or whatever may be the situation, they set off the information in the form of electrical pulse. So electrical pulse is generated, a chemical reaction is set off in the form of electrical pulse. That electrical pulse is conducted through the cell body, then via the axon and to the end of the nerves. So this from this nerve ending, then there is a gap or that is the synapse. Now here the electrical impulse sets off and it releases a chemical. Now this chemical in the adjacent neuron, that chemical is detected or it is recognized by the dendrites of the consequent neuron, and similar kind of electrical impulse is conducted from one neuron to the next. And finally from that neuron it comes to the muscle cells. So each time while conducting that electrical impulse from one neuron to another neuron, a chemical is released to cross the synapse or the gap between this neuron, and similarly when there is a gap between the neuron and the muscle cell or the glands, the chemical is released and that electrical impulse is collected to the muscle. Now when that electrical impulse is conducted to the muscle, finally that muscle will give order for the action, or it will result in the movement. So in this manner, in the animals, the changes in the information or changes in the environment are recognized by the nerve cells from the dendrites and transferred from one neuron to another neuron and finally to the muscle cell or the gland. So in the usual actions, what happens? The change in the environment is recognized and the impulse, that is nerve impulse, is conducted from one neuron to the next neuron and finally to the central nervous system, that is the brain. Now here, within the brain, the thinking process is carried out. And after that thinking, the action is taken or the response is given in terms of movement. For example, when we pull a chair, now suppose we want to sit. What we will think? We will think about it, we will pull the chair and we will sit. So it is a thought action. So the carefully controlled movement is there and it is a thought action. But now think another situations. For example, our example of touching the flame. Now if we carry out the thinking process like that and we will take the action, meanwhile our hand will be completely burnt. But it doesn't happen. We take the immediate action. So we say that I have reflexively removed my hand, or in certain cases I reflexively turn off the light or the button. So these are the actions where the actions are taken immediately and these are not the thought action. Such actions are called as reflex action. So what is meaning of reflex or reflex action? So the reflex or the reflex action is an involuntary action, involuntary and nearly instantaneous action. Action in response to stimulus. So in short, we can define this reflex or the reflex action as the involuntary and nearly instantaneous action in response to stimulus. So what are the examples of this reflex action? Again, our typical example of touching the flame and instantaneously removing the hands. So without thinking, we take the action. Now if we see specific dish or our favorite food, immediately our mouth starts watering. So these are the typical examples of reflex action. Now how this happens? Now there is a specific pathway by which the specific information, that is the nerve impulse, is conducted and it is carried via the neurons from one nerve cell to the another, and then the action is taken out. That typical pathway is known as reflex arc. This reflex arc, it describes the pathway in which nerve impulse is carried. Nerve impulse is carried and response is generated immediately touching the flame, the impulse will be generated, and by a specific pathway that impulse will be carried out, and the order is given to the hand to move it away from the flame. So that pathway is known as reflex arc. So instead of going by a typical pathway in case of thought process where the time is required for thinking process, instead of that, in the reflex action, the instantaneous movement is observed, and the pathway is known as reflex arc.
This is the diagram representing reflex arc. Now this reflex arc typically consists of 5 components. The receptor is present in the receptor organ. Then the sensory neuron conducts the nerve impulses towards the central nervous system. This information is then transferred from one neuron to another. Then a motor neuron conducts the response nerve from central nervous system to the effector organ, and finally the effector organ shows response by contracting or secreting a product.
So this reflex action is not the only activity of neither the nervous system or nor the brain or spinal cord. Now the brain is having a very important role in the different kind of activities. Now overall, the nervous tissue, it collects the information. Nervous tissue, it collects the information from all parts of the body. Then it processes that information, and further through the thinking process, it takes the decision according to that information, and further that decision is transferred to the muscular tissue or muscles, and finally the muscle tissue takes the action. Now overall in this process, brain is the key organ where this information is integrated. But before going to the detailed structure and function of the brain, just take a short review of the nervous system. So the nervous system in the human beings, it is composed of 2 components, namely the central nervous system that we call as CNS, and peripheral nervous system. Now this central nervous system, it collects the information from all parts of body and integrate it. So as the name suggests, that is the central nervous system. So what is the role of central nervous system? So whatever the information that is collected, or what are the different impulses that are collected from all parts of body and that are integrated in it. Now this central nervous system is having 2 major components that are the very important organs. One that is brain and another that is the spinal cord. Now the brain is the main coordinating system in the body. Now as it is very important organ, now this brain is protected in the bony box and it is kept in a liquid filled balloon so that it will function as shock absorbent. So whatever the shocks are there, the brain is prevented from that shocks and it is protected properly. Now another major component of the central nervous system is the spinal cord. Now this spinal cord is made up of nerves which supply information think about. Again, this spinal cord is protected by bony covering that we call it as vertebral column. So overall, from backside if we observe the diagram, the brain and the spinal cord, it togetherly forms the central nervous system. Brain is protected in a bony box and the spinal cord, it is protected in the vertebral column. Now the other component of nervous system is the peripheral nervous system. Now this peripheral nervous system, it facilitates communication between central nervous system and other parts of body. Now why this communication is required? Because whatever the information that is collected, that is to be conducted and the message is to be transferred to all parts of the body. So this communication between the central nervous system and other parts of body is facilitated by the peripheral nervous system. Now this peripheral nervous system, it consists of two major types of nerves, that is cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. So the peripheral nervous system, it consists of cranial nerves which arise from brain, and it also consists of the spinal nerves. As its name suggests, it arises from spinal cord. So because of these different nerves, this communication is facilitated. So overall nervous system consists of central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system consists of two types of nerves, and the main components of the thinking process or the control and coordination, that are the brain and the spinal cord. So the overall thinking process and the complicated network is conducted by this brain and spinal cord. So in the normal thought actions, thinking is involved, and thinking, it involves the very complex mechanisms and the neural connections. All these are connected in the or concentrated in the brain. So because of brain only, we are able to think and act as per the thinking. So coming to the functioning of the brain. Now human brain structurally can be differentiated into three major parts, that is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Now these areas of the brain are having specialized function, and because of which the overall thinking process is carried out in the control and coordination in human beings. So now this forebrain is the main thinking part of the brain. Main thinking part of the brain. Now what does it work? It receives the sensory impulses from all sense organs. Now this forebrain portion or area of the brain is having specialized areas or the center for different things, that is for sight, for smell, for taste, etc. Now apart from these areas, there is a certain specific area that is connected with the hunger. Now because of this specialized area in the forebrain, we are having the feeling of stomach fullness, or we can feel immediately very hungry, and that is controlled by this area, that is specialized area in the forebrain. Now apart from this thought action, there are n number of involuntary actions. Now these involuntary actions are mainly controlled by this midbrain and the hindbrain area of the brain. So these involuntary actions are controlled by the midbrain and the hindbrain region of brain. Now this hindbrain is having two different components or the parts. First one is the medulla and another one is the cerebellum. Now the different involuntary actions such as heartbeats, then blood pressure, salivation, not even this only but also the vomiting. So all such kind of involuntary actions are controlled by medulla. Now the another component of this hindbrain or the part is known as cerebellum. Now this cerebellum is having a key role in maintaining the balance. So maintaining the balance while riding on the cycle, then other things, or maintaining the body posture, or when we bend for picking up a thing. In that case also our balance is maintained by this cerebellum. So this cerebellum is responsible for precision of voluntary actions as well as it is responsible for maintaining the posture and balance of the body. So whenever we walk in a straight line, whenever we ride a bicycle, or whenever we are picking up the things from the floor, in all that positions, in all that actions, our balance is maintained. Not even this, the body posture is also maintained by the cerebellum. So finally, let us revise how this control and coordination is possible in the human being. So whatever the information from different sensory organ that is collected by the nervous tissue, then it is sent around the body parts where that information is processed out, and on that basis of that information the decisions are made. Finally, these decisions are conveyed to the muscles for the action. So overall, the muscles perform the final job of action or the movement. Now how these muscles perform the final job? Now these muscles, they initially receive the impulse. Muscles, they receive the impulse. So whatever the information or the decision is transferred from the nervous tissue to the muscle, it is in the form of impulse. Now when that impulse is received by the muscles must move. That means either these muscles they contract or relax. Now this is possible because of they change in their shape as well as arrangement. So the movement of the muscles, it results because of change in their shape as well as arrangement. Now as you know, this is possible because of specific proteins that are present in the muscular tissue, and that protein is known as contractile protein. So final job of this thought action, that is either that may be the movement or any kind of action, it is made by the muscles, and this is possible by the contraction or relaxation. The reason for this is the presence of the contractile protein in the muscles. So this much is enough for the control and coordination in the human beings or in the animals. Today we have gone through the details of the central nervous system. We have seen the detailed functioning of the brain and how the thinking process is involved in the thought action. Apart from this, we have also seen the reflex action and the pathway, that is the reflex arc. Hope you have understood it better. Like, share and subscribe my channel. Don't forget to press the bell button so that you will be readily notified by upcoming videos from your Standard 10. Thank you.